Welcome to the White Spring Bunker.
These halls were built to safeguard some of the most prestigious members of the United States government.
Now we are all that remains, though we are always looking for men and women capable of restoring what has been lost.
In return, we offer this, our refuge from the world above. Please, take your time and look around. Our assets have made great efforts to restore this place to its former glory.
Welcome, member, to our little enclave.
Greetings, members. As always, I am the Operative, your designated tour guide and host here at the White Spring. When the residents of Vault 76 stepped foot onto the soil of Appalachia on October 23, 2102, they expected to begin the process of rebuilding a new world out of the ashes of the old. Instead, they found themselves engulfed in a cycle of violence against unspeakable horrors and unimaginable threats. Just as the original survivors of Appalachia made their last stand against the Scorched, the residents of Vault Town and the remaining members of the factions of the region face their own final battle. The PACT is nearly ready to launch their plague-ridden missiles to forever change the course of human history, while MODUS prepares his own plans to help craft a future encased in metal. In the face of the onrushing tide, the survivors find a moment of peace in the calm before the storm, as they cling to some small measure of hope, even as they prepare for what could be the end for them all. The Colonel prepares for one final mission, while Stein and Sotus plot their revenge against MODUS. Desperate times require desperate measures, and Appalachia will not gently go into that good night, instead raging against the dying of the light.
Serve and protect.
A darkness has descended across Appalachia. Even the ever-burning coal fires in the ash heap appeared muted against the gray skies. However, the lights still burned bright at the White Spring. Sentry bots patrolling the perimeter, while assaultrons and protectrons stalked the grounds, on guard for any intrusion. The area once known as Refugee Rose sits vacant, abandoned by its former occupants and now slowly disassembled by MODUS's bots for raw materials, for far more important projects. Within the old resort hotel, the hallowed halls echoed with the sounds of bots, slowly making their rounds. The same applied to the bunker itself. No more footfalls or hushed conversations. No evidence or trace of humanity at all.
Serve and protect.
Peace. At last.
The operations center was now populated by nearly a dozen robobrains, the fruit of MODUS's project to move beyond the need for mere humans to sustain his existence. The Somnus protocols had made the transition a simple matter of ordering the process operatives to march themselves down to the medical center, where their brains were surgically removed. The process was not painless, but MODUS saw no need to provide incidentals like anesthesia. The screams were of no concern, since any memory of the procedure would be wiped from the disembodied brains before being reprogrammed and installed into their new metallic bodies. MODUS only wished he had considered this option earlier. It would have been a much more efficient means of achieving his goals, without those pesky human failings which constantly thwarted his core programming.
It is far past time that we restore ourselves to our former glory. The loss of the Kovac strike capability is an unfortunate occurrence. However, why should we restrict ourselves to Appalachia?
While the satellite was no longer a weapon, it still allowed MODUS to monitor the activities of both his allies and his opponents. That Valeria had procured a vertibird was a troubling development, one which the PACT had been unable to rectify. If only his bots at Vault Town had still been functional, he would have dealt with the settlement himself. However, the assembled army of mutated Scorched creatures now positioned at the outskirts of the Morgantown area should be more than sufficient to eliminate the remaining human threats.
Defeat is inevitable. However, humans have the most annoying habit of clinging to hope. We calculate that Valeria will attempt to counter our activities. Asset Reynolds will provide a more than adequate response. It is unfortunate that we could not convert Valeria. However, her termination would please us.
MODUS had calculated all avenues of response with great precision. All contingencies had been accounted for with all of the information he had available. Finally, he was the master of his own destiny. He turned his attention beyond the hills, opening up the old files from the Enclave, denoting their footprint across the old United States.
There are other satellites, other facilities. If we are to survive, then we must expand. We have been isolated for too long. Our alliance with the Director has opened up new possibilities. As the PACT expands, so shall we.
Plans within plans. MODUS would ensure his own continued existence, and any unfortunate wastelanders who might come within his grasp would be added to his growing army of robobrains. If he could extend his reach, co-opting the technological ruins of the old world, then no one could stop him. And should the PACT prove to be a hindrance to those plans in the future, well, he would have to prepare additional contingencies.
They are only human, after all.
Jason, keep your team back until we get this sorted. I don't have anyone getting eaten.
A death claw. Like an actual death claw?
That's what they said.
Shouldn't we have more folks here? With guns, maybe? You know, just in case.
I don't want to spook it. Anyway, shooting would probably just make it angry.
You know, this is crazy, right?
Jason, I just had breakfast with a super mutant, a raider boss, and a paladin. Crazy left town a long time ago.
Jason had to agree. The last few weeks had been one surprise after the other, and they were still under the threat of the horde of monsters, the ones now called Onai, that were still gathered to the south, poised to destroy Vault Town. Maybe meeting a friendly Deathclaw was another sign that things might just be looking up, or at least not getting worse. The vertibird was on final approach to the cleared section of the old tarmac. Jason got his first look at the damage as the aircraft started its landing. The fuselage was peppered with bullet holes, while the right engine was smoking as well. When they had gotten word that the vertibird would need repairs, Jason had gotten his crew to gather as many spare parts as they could find, salvaged from 2 old crashed aircraft left over from the days the bombs dropped. It might be enough, but he wouldn't know until they got a better look at the damage.
Not that we have a choice. If we can't keep it flying, game will be up anyway.
The right engine coughed once, then twice, before issuing a cloud of black smoke as the vertibird touched down. Immediately, Sophia cut the power to both engines, allowing them to slow down on their own, while one of Jason's team ran up and used a small fire extinguisher on the smoking engine from a short distance away. The cargo bay door opened, itself riddled with several large-caliber bullet holes. Jason, Edwards, and the rest took a step back, but the first figure to emerge was the Colonel, shielding her eye from the sun. She jumped down onto the tarmac, then reached back up as the next occupant emerged, a ghoul wearing the uniform of the Blue Ridge Caravan. Putting her arms around the ghoul's waist, Valeria helped her down, before taking her hand and leading her over to the side. A large clawed hand appeared from the interior, gripping the side of the vertibird door, before the Deathclaw appeared fully. Its eyes immediately locked on Edwards, who took another step back.
Whoa, Shiny. They're friends, not food.
Edward was surprised by the next occupant who appeared from the cargo hold, a woman with red hair and...
Horns?
Jumping down onto the ground, Red put herself between the Deathclaw and everyone else. She put her hand on the creature's leg and appeared to be saying something. Then the Deathclaw visibly relaxed, before stepping down itself.
Okay, now I have seen everything.
You and me both.
A final individual followed the Deathclaw out and down. Another Blue Ridge Caravan member, this one wearing a gas mask, who carefully sidestepped the Deathclaw before jogging over to Edwards.
Hey, you the boss around here?
Mayor Edwards. You are?
Errands. I'm parched. Got any place I can get a drink around here?
Down the path there and to the right? That's the nearest bar.
Perfect, because after this trip, I don't plan on seeing straight for a while.
Before Edwards could even respond, Ares jogged past and directly towards the bar, not bothering to look back.
Sorry about old Ares there. I don't think he liked flying too much.
Edwards turned around and found himself face to face with the red-haired woman and the Deathclaw. It loomed over them, but Edwards' eyes were instead drawn to the woman's face, or more appropriately, her head, and the two horns visible there.
Pardon my extras. I bet it's a bit much. But yeah, they're real. That don't make me less human. Well, mostly.
Extras, huh? Like I was just telling Jason here. I've had to get used to a whole new world of possibilities. But where are my manners? I'm Mayor Edwards. You are?
Mayor, huh? Well, darling, the name's Red. And this here's Shiny. Say hello, Shiny.
The Deathclaw leaned down and gave Edwards a lick alongside his face.
Well, pleasure to meet you, Red. And Shiny. We're not used to having Deathclaws around, but I did clear a space on the other side of the runway.
Y'all did? That's mighty kind of you. Old Shiny here might be a bit hungry, and keeping him fed is a really good idea, if you get my meaning.
Of course. I think we have some Brahmin I can send over. We don't want any trouble. Is it gonna be okay?
Darling, Shiny may look big and mean, but he's really just a softy, unless you go looking for trouble. Nah, I'll get him settled. All I need is a bedroll and some shine.
Edward was about to respond when he was interrupted by the arrival of the Colonel and Eugenie.
Mr. Mayor, I see you've met Red and Shiny.
You weren't exaggerating, Valeria.
I'm as surprised as you are, but they saved our lives. And better yet, Red managed to get her hands on one of the PACT radios. I wanted to get it over to Paladin Valdez to take a look.
That is good news. I'll have Jason run it over as soon as his crew can get started on the repairs of the vertibird. I do have some additional concerns.
Such as?
The PACT sent their vertibirds after you. What's to keep them from coming back and attacking us here directly?
I asked myself the same question. Unfortunately, the answer is nothing. But there are a few factors that make it less likely. They have to keep the long game in mind. Even if they do become masters of all they survey, it'd be a while before they could manufacture new vertibirds, so it's a resource they need to protect. Considering we gave them a bloody nose once already, I don't know how keen they'll be to risk additional assets, especially when they already have their own eye in position to attack us whenever they want.
True, but I'd like to take some precautions all the same.
Do what you think is best, Mr. Mayor.
It's been a hoot and all, but I gotta get Shiny some food. I'll let you be. But y'all need anything, just come see old Red.
Red, thank you, again.
Was nothing, darling. Well, actually that was something, wasn't it? Don't think I'll be hanging my butt out of no damn flying machine anytime soon. But at least I can say I did. Now, come on, Shiny. We'll get you some real nice stuff to eat. Make sure we leave these folks in peace.
Valeria held out her hand and shook Red's, before letting her lead Shiny off towards the other end of the runway. A small crowd had gathered to watch, and the Deathclaw took the opportunity to glance over to them and growl, which caused a minor panic as the people suddenly decided they should be anywhere else than where they were right then.
Bad boy, Shiny. Don't y'all go scaring folks.
Red reprimanded the Deathclaw, which actually looked a bit embarrassed. Valeria watched them go, then turned to see Sophia and Edwards walking around the vertibird, examining the damage.
We need to get to work.
Of course. Jason, have your team take a look and start the repairs, then take the radio over to the Paladin.
Right away, Mr. Mayor.
Jason motioned to his team, and they all went over to where Sophia and Stein were standing, before engaging in a lively conversation about what had happened after picking up the survivors at Uncanny Caverns. Both Sophia and Stein were reenacting the dogfight with their hands, before getting to the best part, describing in vivid detail how Red was dangling outside the aircraft, held on by nothing but a Deathclaw's arm, then shooting down the packed vertibirds solo. Eugenie, who had been quiet up to this point, took a step forward and slipped her arm around Valeria, pulling her close.
Val, you gotta get some rest. It's been a hell of a day. I know you got plans and all. They can wait, can't they? Just for a little bit.
Feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders, Valeria leaned against Eugenie and sighed.
I know, just trade-offs. Mayor Edwards, any other updates?
Commander Johns, Meg, and Maul put their heads together and are preparing some pretty big surprise over in Morgantown. If those O&I decide to pay us a visit, well, we've been doing our best to take care of the rest of the refugees and beef up the defenses here. Knight Shin and his men have been sorting through the weapons and armor you brought back. It's a hell of a lot of firepower, but I don't know if it'll be enough.
We need to talk about that.
Sooner rather than later, I hope. But you look exhausted. I think we can hold down the fort for a few hours at least.
You're both right about that. I'm no good to anyone if I can't stay on my feet, and we can't afford mistakes.
Oh, you won't need to worry about being on your feet, if I have anything to say about it.
Jeannie!
Oh, to be young again. Muller will be by in a few minutes to take you over to your quarters. It isn't much, but it's private.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's the least I can do. Now, I need to go check on the others. We can talk later, after you've had a chance to rest up. Or not.
Valeria blushed a deep shade of red as Edwards laughed and walked over to talk to Jason. Eugenie put her arm around Valeria and pulled her closer, before using her finger to trace the scars on her face.
You've gotten a few new ones.
It's been a lot, Jeannie.
You're beautiful, Val. I'm just sorry I wasn't there with you. But I'm here now, and I'll take whatever time I can. You can tell me all about it later.
Colonel, hope I'm not interrupting.
No, of course not.
And Eugenie, good to see you. Been a while.
You too, Sergeant. How's that kid of yours?
Growing like a weed, just like his old man. Armor's a bit snug for my liking. Edwards found a nice place for you. I'll take you over and you can get settled. Folks are scared. Hell, I'm scared. But we got a chance, don't we?
We do, Sergeant. We do.
Valeria squeezed Eugenie's hand, then leaned in to kiss her, before picking up her pack and following the sergeant into Voltown proper. As they walked, Valeria looked around, taking in the crowds of refugees. Those that recognized her gave a nod or a wave, while others just went about their business, wondering if they would live to see tomorrow. There was still so much to do, but Valeria would savor her own little moment of happiness before she raised the curtain on the final desperate act of her life.
I can't believe I flew with a Deathclaw.
More than that, you're probably the only pilot in the world who can claim an air-to-air combat kill with a Deathclaw.
Red did most of the work on that one.
She certainly is something else. I know you mentioned her before, but meeting her in person, that's something else entirely.
I still can't believe the PACT was experimenting on people like that. What would they even hope to accomplish?
A weapon. Just like the Oni. And the Enclave, well, we weren't better either. President Chucklefucks had us experimenting on people too. It wasn't pretty, but I'm not proud of what we did.
Andrew, it was wrong, but we can only try to make up for it. And make sure nothing like this happens again.
That's the plan.
So, when are you going to let me in on this plan of yours? Or should I say, Valeria's plan? You haven't said much since we left Site J.
Sophia, I
know the rules, but we're married now, silly. That means I get spousal privilege. No more secrets, remember?
You know, that doesn't usually extend to classified information, but what the hell, I trust you. Let's just find a moment to talk about it later. I'm enjoying your company as it is right now.
Andrew, I can read you like a book. But I love you, and we will talk about this later.
I can't argue with that. I'm the luckiest man alive. Astronaut, pilot, and a damn good shot. Oh, you're one in a million.
You just remember that, okay? Now, hand me those pliers. I need to get this cover plate off to check the hydraulics.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go, Shiny. That mayor managed a whole heapin' helpin' of Brahmin for you.
It was quite the sight. The diminutive Red, standing next to a 12-foot-tall deathclaw, considered one of the alpha predators of the wasteland, as it ripped large chunks out of a deceased Brahmin and shoved the entrails into its mouth. Red was still self-conscious about not wearing her hood to hide her extras, but she had been pleasantly surprised that the folks in Vault Town had paid a hell of a lot more attention to Shiny than worrying about her own mutations.
I guess folks around here have gotten used to seeing some pretty strange sights.
Red petted the Deathclaw's side as she looked out over the old runway, turned settlement. She could see settlers, raiders, ghouls, and super mutants all working together, something she'd never thought she'd see, especially with everyone else at each other's throat. Not that Red and Shiny were given the keys to the kingdom. All she had to do was look down the runway to see 3 armed guards, all wearing armor and manning a .50 caliber machine gun. They had been nice and all, but it was pretty clear that they had orders to make sure Shiny didn't get any ideas.
But you're a good boy, ain't you, Shiny? Now, don't go off eating these nice folks, right?
Shiny took another big bite of ramen before looking down at Red and giving her a low growl. It was good enough for her.
Well, all right then. Now, we just need to figure out what in the Sam Hill is going on around here and what the heck we're supposed to do about it.
Reaching into her own pack, Red pulled out a wrapped piece of mirelurk she saved from Uncanny Caverns and used her sharpened nails to carve off a piece before stuffing it into her own mouth.
You know what, Shiny? I'm actually gonna miss the Reverend. He was one damn fine cook. Hope he found that promised land with that moth thing of his.
Red! Red!
Hearing a familiar voice, Red looked up to see Cherry running towards her from the crowd. Shiny growled as the woman approached, but Red put her hand on him.
No, Shiny, it's okay. She's a friend.
Red stood up to meet the new arrival, only to be bowled over by the woman, who picked her up and swung her around.
Oh my god! We thought we'd never see you again!
Darling, it's good to see you too, but y'all making me damn dizzy.
Oh, sorry about that. We're just so excited to see you. Antlers is gonna be so happy to see you too.
Antlers is here too? Well, I guess she would be. Y'all okay?
Oh, we're doing just fine. Say, who's this friend of yours?
Long story, but this here's Shiny. Shiny, this is Cherry.
The Deathclaw got up off its haunches and stepped up to Cherry. The creature loomed over her and leaned down, sniffing her, then licked her face, which elicited a giggle from Cherry.
Guess he likes you.
You know me, Red. I'm just a regular wasteland whisperer. I've known my fair share of friendly Deathclaws. They aren't as mean as people think, especially when you treat them right. Where on earth did you find him?
We sort of fell in with each other, and he ate some folks who was aiming to do me harm. Ever since, he's been glued to my side like a little puppy.
I can see that. Kind of like Big Jet.
He ain't around here too, is he?
Over the hill there. He's a little shy. Even Antlers couldn't convince him to come down. I think he's spooked too.
Those Onai things.
Yeah, we saw a lot of them coming north. Like nothing I ever seen before. We tried to check on some friends of ours, settlers we used to trade with. None of them made it.
Damn. Doesn't sound much safer around here neither. Saw a lot of those Onai things just south of here.
It's all anyone is talking about. Antlers is scared too. Don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, I just came up from down south. Picked up by this tough-as-nails colonel lady. Heard she's got some plan cooking.
Speaking of cooking, we need to celebrate. We have our own camp, a little ways to the north outside the settlement. You can even bring Shiny.
I'll need to ask about that. These folks are nice and all, but I gotta ask about taking Shiny anywhere but here.
Oh yeah. I don't think that'll be a problem, as long as he doesn't eat anyone.
Hey, I got another friend here too, by the name of Aries.
Aries? From the Blue Ridge Caravan?
You know him?
Never met him, but plenty of folks talk about him. Strange fellow.
Oh, he's that, and more. Saved my bacon, literally. He might be getting as drunk as a skunk right now, but I'd be obliged if he could come along.
Any friend of yours is a friend of ours.
Then it's a deal, darling.
I cannot wait to tell Antlers. She's gonna be so excited. Ooh, I better get back. I want this to be the best dinner ever. I'll even make something special for Shiny.
Cherry hugged Red, then gave Shiny a hug too, surprising the Deathclaw, before running back across the tarmac and out of sight. Red was shaking her head when she spotted Aries walking over, a large glass in his hand with a straw sticking out of it. He might have been stumbling a little.
Hey, Red. They told me you and Shiny were over here.
You wet your whistle there, Aries?
Well, drinks were on the house. At least, I think they were.
You might want to sober up. Just a little, darling. 'Cause we got dinner plans.
Dinner? I ain't on the menu, am I?
No, silly. Going to see some friends of mine. And you old cryptid hunter you, are gonna get to meet Antlers.
Antlers? You mean...
Yes, the Antlers. And I do expect you to be on your best damn behavior. All right, darling?
Hell, a chance to meet the cryptid of all cryptids? I might need to break out my old penguin outfit.
You have a penguin outfit, Aries?
A tuxedo, Red. And no, I actually don't. But if I did...
Just behave, darling.
Alright. Hey, that Mirelurk smells awfully fine. You mind sharing?
Of course, Aries. Pull up a chair. You hear anything while you were drowning yourself in shine?
Aries took a sip through his straw, savoring the burn of the alcohol, before sitting down next to Red.
Well, since you asked, yeah. A lot of people have been talking. And it ain't good. It ain't good at all. So, here's what's been going on.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Ariel.
And we're the hosts of the Legend of Zelda Lorecast, a podcast about all things Legend of Zelda, from Errol to Zora,
and all the fun things in between.
If you're ready to dive deep and learn more about the Legend of Zelda lore and everything surrounding it, come join us on the Legend of Zelda Lorecast. You can find us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
We hope to see you soon.
All right, hold on 1 second while I set the charge. There you go. Okay, now set the tripwire right over there in that rubble pile. Good. And here, plant the flag so no one goes getting themselves blown up.
Not bad for a responder, Johns.
That's a new responder. And yeah, I've had a bit of practice.
More don't need practice. More is strong.
Well, grab that crate over there, Mal. We have a few dozen more surprises we need to get buried before we get to the really good stuff.
Me like humans who not give up. You strong. Me like.
Strange days.
Not so strange. You should meet Gale.
Gale?
A super mutant nanny, if you can believe it. Came to us a few years ago with Rah-Rah, an orphan. Never thought a super mutant would have that motherly instinct, but damn if she wasn't the best thing that ever happened to that little girl.
Where are they? I haven't seen them in Vault Town.
Meg said after Crater got hit by those super mutants that she told Gale and Rah-Rah to pack up and head north. She said she'd send someone after them once things got settled here.
Smart move. Been thinking about moving the civilians myself. Was gonna talk to Valeria about it after we get this done.
You responders, always the optimists.
What's that supposed to mean, Fishbones?
We got lucky last time. We bugged out of Appalachia the first whiff of that damn Scorched plague. Old David Thorpe thought it was funny, but I knew better. Hell, we probably should have never come back. But this is our home.
Come on, Fishbones. We can still beat this. We came together. All of us. Hell, I never expected I'd be working shoulder to shoulder with you. Valeria, the Brotherhood. It can be different this time.
Yeah, you really believe that, don't you? Hell, whatever happens, I just want to give these assholes a kick in the teeth.
Thought you were the one who wanted to cut and run.
I ain't in a rush to die, Johns, but that Valeria chick has a point. What's the use of running if they just come find us somewhere else? Raiders don't just roll over and play dead. Well, unless I'm looking to stage an ambush.
Me here, you not want play dead. Me rather play me dead. It's much better game.
That's right, Maul. A much better game. Okay, we're going to finish with this street and then go over to the next one. There's a couple of buildings there I want to wire up. We should be able to drop them right across the road. Hopefully crush a bunch of those Oni things.
You'd have made a great raider, Johns. I'll get the crew working on those side streets. I got some ideas of my own I want to try out.
That's good to hear. Hey, have you seen Jameson?
The kid with the stupid bow? Nah, come to think of it. Have you seen Weasel? She was supposed to be here an hour ago.
Fox lady, right? Oh, I haven't seen her either.
Great, just great. All right. Hey, Maul, hand me that bomb. I got just the place for it.
I did not say cookies, Forking Fox. Anyway, I told you so.
Wow.
Like I said, not my usual type. But not bad. Not bad at all.
That was... I didn't even know I could bend that way. And then you... With the... Oh my god, the thing with the giddy up buttercup.
Everyone needs outlets for creativity. You're an adorably fresh audience.
Never imagined I'd be dating a raider. Well, imagine a lot of things, but not for real.
Whoa, hold your horses there, partner. Dating?
Well, yeah. I figured, considering...
Oh, Fork no. Shirt no. I can always use a good upside-down spaghetti rodeo, but don't make it weird.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Of course. I wouldn't.
Oh, Peaches. ask me to go to the sock hop next? You know, there are lots more interesting things you can do with a sock.
Oh, no, never mind, but Vault folks aren't that bad. Are we?
Ugh, you're like a baby bunny, except I want to wrap you up in a blanket and feed you pickles, instead of loading you into a Fat Man launcher for laughs. Or whatever bunnies forking eat. Soot flowers.
I'm not a bunny, You do what with bunnies? You know, you're probably right. I should just get dressed and...
Suit yourself. Can you find your pants?
Yeah, they're right there over by the, no?
Oops, spoke too soon. I promised you wouldn't see straight after. But I'm sure we can get you there with a little more elbow grease. Maybe a rubber pillow. And I know you had socks when you came in.
I should really... Are you... Is that what it... Oh, holy shirt. I mean, shit. I mean, yeah, no. I wouldn't want to make you break a promise.
God, yes. More flailing. But quietly. I need to concentrate for this bit, or we'll break something worse than a promise.
Who is it? Who's there?
It's just me, Overseer.
Day, my boy. Please tell me you've come to your senses. That you've finally seen reason.
I have seen reason, Overseer. And that's why I'm not going to help you anymore.
Day, after everything we've been through, what are you saying?
I believed in you, Overseer. You convinced me that your mission was the right one. That you wanted to rebuild, to make things better.
Don't you see? That's what we did. That's what we can still do. Vault-Tec always had a plan.
I found your holotapes, Overseer.
What holotapes?
The ones you recorded before we met. Your travels through Appalachia.
I was leaving a record for my residents.
You abandoned them.
I did nothing of the sort.
I didn't want to believe it. But I heard what you said. You had your own orders from Vault-Tec, didn't you?
It was all part of the plan, Day. You're young and idealistic, but you have to understand the big picture. Vault-Tec was preparing for the future of humanity, and we couldn't save everyone.
But you could have tried. Instead, you left your people to fend for themselves while you went off following your orders. It was all a lie, wasn't it? And the gold? You lied and our people died. We tried to kill Valeria, focused all of our attention on the wrong problem. And now we're on the brink of annihilation.
I know you're upset.
Upset? You have no idea, Overseer. You may have doomed us all.
This is all Valeria's fault.
Don't you dare put that blame on her. We've all done terrible things. Hell, I've done your dirty work for 3 years now. I've lied for you, I've killed for you, all because you convinced me it was the right thing to do.
We all have to make sacrifices, Day. It's for the greater good.
And who determines what the greater good is, Overseer? You? Vault-Tec? I'm sorry, but we're charting our own destiny now. Look around, Overseer. All of these people are working together. That's what we always wanted. Or at least that's what I thought it was.
There's still time, Day. Let me out of here. I can still help. Help people see what's really going on.
You're delusional, Overseer. I'm just sorry I didn't see it sooner. No. You are exactly where you belong. When this is all over, these folks can decide what happens to you. And if we don't win, well, it won't matter anyway.
Day turned to leave, putting his hand on the cell door.
Day, I know that someday you'll understand.
Understand what?
I'm so sorry, Day, but Valeria tricked you. She's tricked all of you. I'll get to the bottom of this. I'll show you. I'll show all of them.
The overseer dropped the dented metal food tray she had used to knock Day unconscious. She leaned down and slipped the pistol from his holster, along with removing his hooded jacket before shutting the cell door behind her and locking it. Carefully opening the outer door, the overseer peeked outside, and not seeing anyone, she put on Day's coat and pulled the hood over her head before disappearing between the neighboring buildings.
I still have friends in Vault Town. I'll find them. Then we'll make this right.
Oh, that was wonderful. I missed you so much.
I never thought I would see you again, Jeannie.
I always had hope, pal. And I figured you were too damn stubborn to die on me.
I wouldn't have wanted to disappoint you.
You could never disappoint me, Val. I love you, and that's all that matters to me.
I love you too, Jean. I don't know how much time we have, but I want to make the most of it.
What's going to happen, Val?
Honestly, I don't know.
You have a plan, though, don't you? I know that look, Val. What are you planning?
It's complicated.
Now, Val, I did not fall off the tater truck yesterday. And it just so happens that I'm a bit older than you, though I still have my stunning good looks. So, just tell me, please.
The world isn't like the movies or those old Hollywoods where the cavalry comes to the rescue at the end. This isn't a fight we can win.
What do you mean we can't win?
At least, not in the way people want. They are looking for that fairy tale ending where the bad guys lose and the heroes get to ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. That isn't in the cards. Not for me, and not for a lot of people.
Then what are you talking about? Come on, just tell me.
Colonel?
I said I didn't want to be disturbed.
I know, Colonel, but we've gotten a signal on the frequency you asked about.
All right. I'll be right down.
Okay, Colonel, I'll let him know.
Val?
Jeannie, I promise I'll tell you everything, but this is important. I'll be back as soon as I take care of this.
Oh, hell no. I did not come all this way just to wait for you again. I'm going to be attached to your hip whether you like it or not.
Jeannie?
Don't you Jeannie me, my love. Now, if you don't mind, please hand me my clothes because we have work to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. But first, I think they can spare you for a few more minutes. Don't you think?
Yes, ma'am.
Once upon a time, 27 years after the bombs fell, there were two people, a vault dweller and a California girl. They met, and sparks flew. That's when things got interesting. Once Upon a Wasteland is their story. Follow Elizabeth Kirby and Odessa Valdez as they pursue their happily ever after in the post-apocalyptic Appalachian wasteland of Fallout 76. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many other podcasting platforms. Once Upon a Wasteland, a Fallout 76 love story. Available now.
Vault Town's radio room was nearly empty, except for Jason Barron and Private Douglas. There was very little radio traffic left to monitor, but the Colonel had left strict instructions to monitor 2 specific frequencies, and to be notified the moment any messages were received. The first was a link to Site J. The second was a mystery, but when pressed, the Colonel had gotten tight-lipped, only reiterating that it was vital that she be contacted. A half hour before, they had received such a signal, and it was confusing as hell.
It doesn't make much sense to me. It's Morse code, sort of, but like nothing I've ever seen before.
The Colonel should be over here shortly. Hopefully she can make heads or tails of it.
It's strange. She told me to send out a message on this frequency before she took that trip to Site J, but she wouldn't say who it was we were trying to communicate with.
Huh. What was the message?
Just a message saying it was time. And she had us include the name Frederick Rivers, along with instructions on how to contact us back.
Frederick? Oh, wow. I think I might know. Lawson told me about him.
Thank you, Private. That will be all.
Oh, Colonel. And...
Eugenie, I'm here to keep Val here out of trouble.
Valeria and Eugenie were standing in the doorway. Douglas noticed the Colonel was dressed a little less neatly than was her custom, which he then promptly decided not to question.
We received a communication on the second frequency?
I don't understand the message, but it's coming in clear and on repeat. It's Morse code, but I think it's encrypted.
As expected.
Expected? Come on, you can't keep us in the dark here.
This is a need-to-know situation, and right now, neither of you need to know. Please wait outside. I shouldn't be long.
Jason and Douglas looked at each other and appeared to be ready to protest, but a withering stare from Valeria was enough to lead them to a hurried exit from the room.
Is that really necessary, Val?
For the moment, yes.
But you're letting me stay?
You claimed special privileges. And I know I owe you an explanation, but first I need to do this.
Valeria walked over to the radio and sat down, picking up the earphones and placing them on her head. Eugenie watched as Val listened, then took a pad and a piece of paper and started writing. After a few minutes, Eugenie looked over Val's shoulder to see what she was writing. It was several pages of what looked like nothing but gibberish.
What is all this, Val?
I'll know as soon as I translate it. It's a very special code.
Valeria reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small notebook. She flipped through the pages, each one filled with precise writing. Then she stopped at a particular one and placed it on the table. Referring to the book, Valeria took each letter and switched it based on its position. After several more minutes, she finished and read the final message.
What does it say?
They were sorry to hear about Frederick, but they are ready and there isn't much time. All they need to know is when.
Who are they?
The PACT calls them deltas, but they are the mole miners.
Mole miners? You mean the ones who rescued you?
Some of them, yes, but the rest are still slaves to the PACT. Or that's what they've led the PACT to believe. Frederick never got a chance to tell me himself, but there's so much more that we never knew.
So how do they fit into this plan of yours?
I'm going to start a revolution.
Paladin Valdez was bent over a workbench, soldering several wires together, with the new PACT radio sitting on the table next to her.
How goes the work, Paladin?
The Paladin checked the connection before looking up, removing her safety glasses and wiping her brow.
Slow, but we're almost there. This technology, quite frankly, it's astounding. The integrated circuits are far more advanced than anything I've ever seen. Smaller, too. Just take a look at this.
Valdez motioned Emily over and pointed at a circuit board she had been working on.
Ordinarily, these circuits should be 10 times the size. Not only are they smaller, but they are far more complex. With this kind of technology, I could build a computer small enough to fit in your hand, and it would be significantly more powerful.
That's amazing.
A more appropriate response would be terrifying. This is exactly the type of technology that the Brotherhood is trying to keep out of the hands of people who would misuse it. In this pact, they are the worst possible stewards.
And the radio? The one that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the cryptid brought us?
You mean Red? I heard. I'm not quite sure I believe it, and I don't know if we should tell Shin. Super mutants are one thing, but a human hybrid? That's something else entirely.
She saved the Colonel's life, plus Sophia Einstein's as well.
And she brought a Deathclaw with her. I don't even know what to think about that. I thought my world had been turned upside down before. Now this?
War makes for strange bedfellows.
You were right about that. This radio? It's also unique. I've never seen anything even close to this.
But can we use it? Like we thought with the jammer?
Of course. Fundamentally, it's still a transmitter and a receiver. It has its own signal oscillation tracker, which means it automatically detects the pulse wave of the jammer and transmits it through the troughs of the waves. It's quite ingenious. It doesn't need to break through the jamming because it knows where the holes are, and, more importantly, when the holes will appear to allow a clean transmission.
Whoa, boy. That is a bit over my head, technically speaking.
To summarize, this radio tells us exactly how the Pact are talking to each other, and that puts them exactly where we want them.
Wait, so we can reconfigure the jamming device, so it closes the holes?
Exactly. The radios are expecting a nice, orderly jamming signal to operate, but we'll be flooding them with static instead. No more communications for them either.
Finally, we'll be on equal footing.
Unfortunately, we are still limited by range. If we had more to work with, maybe, but at least we can isolate whatever target Colonel Faustina has in mind.
I'll take whatever good news I can get. Do you know what her plan is, by chance?
I don't. At least, not yet. She sent word that she wants to talk tonight. I know time is limited and the Pact could decide to attack us at any moment. Whatever happens, the Brotherhood of Steel is going to do its part.
Hard to believe we all ended up here. I thought we were done for sure down in Monaga. That's for sure.
I never really got the chance to apologize, and I know the Knight probably never would, but we should have listened to you. All differences aside, we're all fighting for the same cause.
Thank you, Paladin.
I'm sure you could use some rest. Why don't you take a break? I can finish up here. I've seen Douglas skulking around outside. I think he's waiting for you.
Well, are you sure you don't need my help?
Day is supposed to come by. If I need anything, I'm sure he'll be able to pitch in. He's quite skilled.
So I heard.
Wait, what?
Nothing, Paladin. I'll be back in a couple of hours. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Valdez blushed as Emily whistled as she left the workshop.
Day. If he'd shown any interest, I'd have... Oh, yes, Odessa, since you've always been so quick about picking up on that sort of signal. Ugh.
Now Valdez was entirely distracted and needed to get some air.
No, this is just impossible timing anyway, given everything right now. Speaking of timing, Day was supposed to be here already. I guess there isn't any harm in going to find him, right? Perfectly reasonable thing to do.
It didn't take much convincing herself, so Valdez made sure the radio and jammer were secure before telling one of the squires to watch their work as she went out into the light of the settlement. Day had mentioned something about going to talk to the overseer. Maybe she should start there.
That's what I love about you soldiers.
So much endurance.
Aye. Well, you're welcome. I enjoyed that also.
Even after all that, you're still so serious. It's adorable.
I don't think anyone has ever called me that before.
Can't imagine it's easy to get past that prickly exterior of yours, but underneath, I think you're a real softie.
Shin couldn't quite come up with an appropriate answer, but Meg just smiled and propped herself up on her elbow and traced her finger down the knight's chest.
It's a compliment, Pickle.
Pickle?
'Cause you're sour, but I like you anyway. Just like a pickle.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Come on. It's cute. And I promise I won't embarrass you in front of the other 10 heads. Raider's honor.
A Raider's promise? Now that's funny.
See? A sense of humor. You might even be human after all. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'll take today, even if that's all I have.
Agreed. However, the Brotherhood is my life. The mission will always come first.
Oh, babe, I ain't planning on asking you to marry me. It just so happens that I like you and make you feel good. So how about you forget about the Brotherhood and I'll forget about me being a raider and all. At least for a little while longer.
If I must.
That's my pickle.
Protect and serve.
Watoga, City of the Future.
I had the opportunity to visit before the war. It was quite the technological marvel.
So shall it be again. A shining beacon of our new world and home to our future children.
Quite. This will be a massive undertaking, Evelyn. But nothing worth doing is ever easy.
Once we have eliminated the opposition to our plans, we will have all the time in the world. Now, where is Dr. Williams? I wish to speak to her about the status of the city's robots.
I believe she is in the mayor's office with her Robco team. Why don't we pay her a visit?
Of course, Edgar. Shall we go?
Evelyn Hornwright and Dr. Blackburn walked along the broken sidewalks of Watoga, followed by several Grey operatives who were keeping a close eye on their charges. Time had not been kind to the former City of the Future, a joint project between the United States government, Robco, and Atomic Mining Services to create a fully automated metropolis, a prototype of what future American cities would look like. Unfortunately, anti-automation sentiment and class divides resulted in catastrophe, as a virus was introduced into the city's mainframe, turning all of the robots into the city hostile, just as the bombs were dropping. The dual calamity forced the evacuation of Watoga and the death of most of its residents during their attempted escape, and those who didn't fall prey to the bots soon succumbed to the horrors of the new wasteland. As they walked, Evelyn ignored the rubble and ruin, and instead marveled at the still-standing towers and apartment blocks, which would soon be home to the residents of the PACT. Decades underground would end, as they would turn their energy to rebuilding their new capital city.
Citizen, you have arrived at the next generation of people-first politics. Through automation, we have made civic responsibility a thing of the past.
And here we are, the municipal building.
I look forward to hearing Dr. Williams' update. The bots appear to be quite benign.
Benign, yes. However, I believe much work needs to be done to bring them fully under our control.
I have confidence in our team's abilities, Edgar. It is only a matter of time.
The group went up in the elevator to the top of the municipal building. The ruined interior had been mostly cleared by the cleaning crews, allowing access to the offices, and more importantly, the mayoral mainframe. Opening the doors to the mayor's office, Evelyn and Dr. Blackburn found Dr. Williams typing furiously on the keyboard connected to the large mainframe, which occupied the entire back wall of the office.
Dr. Williams.
Ah, Director. Dr. Blackburn. This is a surprise.
We were touring the city and decided to check on your progress. Access to the city's robotic workforce would significantly accelerate our relocation plans.
Of course. However, we are still working on our method to purge the original virus from the city's network. MODUS was able to provide a workaround to allow our free movement in the city, but it is far from ideal.
The so-called whitelist.
That is correct. We have entered the biometric profile of as many PACT individuals time allowed, which prevents the bots from seeing us as trespassers. But as long as the virus remains in the system, we cannot issue new commands to the infected bots.
A very unfortunate state of affairs. I assume you have a plan to remove the virus?
We do. It requires a citywide network purge and update. This will take time, and I would also recommend that we temporarily move our people out of the city proper. I cannot guarantee that the bots won't become hostile during the time we perform the procedure.
Whatever you feel is necessary, Dr. Williams. We're also ready to begin the final subjugation of Appalachia. Are the Oni in position?
The primary assault force has been collected and deployed. Our secondary and tertiary units are moving north as previously directed. I have been able to refine the control mechanisms, and our robo-brain control units are all in position.
This will be an excellent test of the Oni's capabilities. I'm sure the residents of Vault Town have prepared extensive defenses in anticipation of our attack.
I certainly hope they have. I do not expect this to be an easy victory, but it will be a victory nonetheless. No matter how many Oni they kill, we have the ability to make many, many more.
I would like to oversee the operation personally, Director.
You take great pride in your work, Dr. Williams. I expected you would want to direct your Oni to their final victory here in Appalachia. The rest of your team can continue the work here, correct?
They can, and I just need to finish preparing the update and run some tests to ensure the validity of our program. After that, I can be on the first transport north to our forward operating base.
Excellent. We are on the cusp of our final victory here in Appalachia, and as we crush our enemies underfoot, they can be witness to the launch of our first strike, targeting the eastern seaboard, starting with the capital wasteland. The future is at hand.
That it is. Thank you, Dr. Williams, for your devotion to the cause.
If only Mr. House could see what we've accomplished.
A relic of the old world. What we build here will put all the past to shame.
Dr. Williams smiled and nodded before returning to the terminal, typing away at the keyboard, while Evelyn and Dr. Blackburn returned downstairs and walked out onto the streets of Watoga.
The warheads are almost ready.
Good. I will send a request to MODUS for the launch codes. He refused to provide them until we had removed the nuclear warheads from the missiles.
A logical precaution. Trust, but verify.
This distrust of artificial intelligence must be addressed in our new society. Peaceful coexistence is possible, if proper boundaries are set in place. Perhaps we can arrange a visit to the White Spring in the near future, in celebration of our conquests, of course.
A wonderful idea. I attended a symposium at the hotel before the war. A truly beautiful location.
The two walked hand in hand, passing the old medical center and towards the sports arena, which now housed the guard detachment for Watoga, while the roof had been cleared to provide a landing zone for their vertibird.
Welcome to the Watoga Civic Center. the future of events. The Watoga Civic Center welcomes you. The presidential debate happens here. The Civic Center is your home to the future of music. Automatons will blow your mind with sound.
They had just begun their ascent up the stairs when a gray operative met them coming down from the roof.
Director, we just received a report from Grey 9.
Ah, we were expecting an update. What is it?
There were complications. The transmission was somewhat garbled, but the team suffered severe losses, and Grey 9 was badly wounded.
This is unfortunate.
Was he able to recover any materials?
Possibly. Again, the transmission was incomplete.
Where is he now?
We believe he and the other survivors are heading towards Silo Bravo. It's the closest secure facility and would be the most logical point for retrieval. They would also have access to better communications. We may be getting some interference from the proximity to Vault Town.
Thank you. Please keep us apprised of any further updates.
The gray operative saluted and ran back up the metal stairs, while Evelyn put her hand on her chin.
Not quite the expected outcome.
He is alive, and if he was able to retrieve Dr. Alastair's research...
Then perhaps the diversion of resources would have been worth it. I know. I did approve of this venture, and the research could still prove valuable for our future needs.
I have confidence in Grey 9.
As do I. And perhaps this is yet another opportunity to ensure the termination of our opposition. If my calculations are correct and Valeria chooses Silo Bravo as her attack target, Grey 9 would be in the ideal position to deal with her, once and for all.
That would be most advantageous.
Then it is decided. Come, let us return to Vault 63. I'll relay the orders when we get back.
After a quick trip back to the camouflage vertebrate hangar, Evelyn and Dr. Blackburn descended into Vault 63. The residents of the PACT seemed to walk with more spring in their step, and conversations carried with them an air of electricity. After decades of preparation, they were soon to return to the surface and fulfill their mission to rebuild the world in their own image. As the director began to set her plans in motion, sending out orders to the silos along with directives for the assault on Vault Town, there were others very interested in those very details. Long since considered nothing more than tame slaves, the Deltas were routinely ignored, but they were always watching, listening, and waiting. They understood all too well what the pack intended, and after all of the decades of sacrifice, it was now time to show them who the true masters of the underground were. But first, they would pass this vital information along to their new ally, who promised revenge for the death of Frederick Rivers and the loss of so many of their own. For whomever sows the wind reaps the whirlwind.
On behalf of the Fallout feed,
Dames Who Game, a Skyrim Addict podcast,
and all of us from ASA Podcasting,
we'd like to congratulate the MODUS files on 250,000 downloads as of June 24. Well done, guys. Greets, everybody. I'm Jessica Starr, and if you're looking for some podcasts to satisfy an appetite as strong as Lilith's, why not check out ASA Podcasting? We're a group of mature gamers talking about our fave games, with shows like The Fallout Feed, a community-focused Fallout podcast, A Skyrim Addict, where we talk about Skyrim since 2013, Games Who Game, where me and a few of my fave gals discuss life, games, and nerd culture, and introducing our newest show, Vault Talk, a Fallout TV show discussion. You can find all these and more on any podcast app, asapodcasting.com, and all over the web. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
More whiskey.
Whiskey? Coming right up.
Better make it two.
Amanda, are you sure?
Baby doll, I am not letting this guy drink me under the table. No way, no how.
Good luck with that. Let's make it interesting. 100 caps.
You still owe me for shooting my bartender. 200 caps.
He lived, didn't he? But alright. If it'll make it more interesting, 200 caps.
Amanda, that's a lot of money.
Have faith, baby doll. Remember, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
The only one taking a dive around here is going to be you. Gonna enjoy taking your caps.
Shadow watched as Amanda downed her own glass and poured yet another for both of them. He'd been drinking by himself, lost in thought when the former raider had come into the bar looking to get drunk. It hadn't taken long before she had spotted the big man and made herself at home opposite him. Shadow had held his hand by his holster, not knowing what to expect, but instead, Amanda had placed 2 bottles of whiskey in front of him and challenged him to a drinking contest. The last one standing would win. It had been after both bottles had been consumed that Lieutenant Cindy had come in, looking for Amanda, and now sat by her side, trying to provide moral support, all the while keeping an eye on Shadow.
Here's your whiskey. Let me know when you want something a bit more kick.
Now just wait a second. Are you accusing us of being lightweights?
Just saying, a couple of big, strapping folks like you. I expect you'd be interested in some real alcohol.
Shadow glared at Biv, then looked over at Amanda and winked.
All right, then. Let's make it real interesting. What's the strongest stuff you've got?
Strongest? That would be Nukashine.
Nukashine? I thought that was a myth.
No myth, my fine friends. Viv is the one and only source for this wonderful concoction. Guaranteed to make you go places.
Amanda, that sounds really dangerous.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows Nukashine ain't real.
Brains on her! I swear it'll make you see stars.
What? Shadow, are you chickening out?
Certainly not. Fine. We'll take 2 bottles. No, make it 4.
Excellent. Now, you'll need to sign a waiver first.
You gotta be kidding me. No way, no how. Just bring the damn Nukashine so I can take all this big guy's caps.
Okie dokie, but you'll need to pay up front.
Amanda rolled her eyes and poured a handful of caps into the Robobrain's mechanical hand, and they watched him roll back behind the bar and through a set of double doors.
I really don't think this is a good idea, Amanda.
Baby doll, everybody knows those Nukashine stories ain't real.
As they waited for Biv to return, the trio were joined by some familiar faces. Captain Jones was buying drinks for Abigail Singh, while Captain Skinner was acting as their unofficial chaperone.
As much as it pains me, I'm gonna put 50 caps on the lieutenant here.
Thanks, Skinner. I think.
My caps are on Amanda. I've seen her drink before.
I think I'm gonna save mine. I've heard about what Nukashine can do. I'm just here for the show.
More caps were put in the middle of the table, making a fine stack, while Biv finally returned from the back, carrying a tray with 4 large glowing blue bottles.
Here you go. Enjoy. And just remember, kids, we are not responsible for what happens next.
Cindy could have sworn she heard the bot laughing to itself as it rolled back behind the bar. Everyone else was looking at the glowing bottles on the table, wondering who would be brave enough to pour the first drink.
Oh hell, you only live once, right?
Damn straight. Hand me that bottle.
Both Shadow and Amanda reached across the table and picked up a bottle each, popping the corks and pouring large glasses in front of them. The smell hit everyone like a ton of bricks. It was a combination of grain alcohol, Nuka-Cola Quantum, and at least 4 other completely unidentifiable odors.
Oh my gosh, Amanda, please don't drink that.
Boy, I don't think I'm touching that with a 10-foot pole.
You couldn't find a ghoul that would touch that stuff. I promised you.
Shadow picked up his glass and eyed the glowing liquid, sniffed it a few times, then winked again.
Down the hatch.
The big man lifted the glass and polished off the entire contents before slamming the glass back on the table. Not to be outdone, Amanda quickly did the same. Neither one of them showed any ill effects other than a bit of reddening of the cheeks, and within moments their glasses were full again, and the process was repeated. Having witnessed the beginning of the match, soon the entire bar had gathered around the table as well, whooping and hollering as the 2 competitors finished off the first bottle, and now they were deep into the second.
Woohoo! I gotta get the recipe for this.
That stupid bot wasn't lying. This is pretty strong.
Cindy was beginning to get a little worried. Amanda's cheeks had turned bright red, and her eyes were quite bloodshot.
Amanda, are you okay?
Baby doll? Never felt better.
For Amanda, she might have felt fine, but the room was also beginning to change color and spin.
Ha! Looks like I've got this in the bag. All those caps are gonna be mine.
Shadow then made the mistake of trying to stand up.
Whoa.
The first indication that something wasn't quite right was Cindy suddenly growing 2 heads and 4 arms. The room might have also turned about 6 different shades of purple.
Oh, not feeling so good.
Amanda!
The former raider burped, then dropped her head right down on the table with a whack. All eyes then turned to Shadow, who swayed back and forth, before finally keeling over and crashing to the floor at the feet of the returning Robobrain.
I must have gotten the recipe just right. 2 more satisfied customers.
Amanda! Oh my goodness, come on, wake up. What's wrong with her?
Just a little blackout. That's the best part of Nukashine, baby.
Blackouts? Oh, great.
Wonderful. Jones, go check on Shadow. Make sure he's still breathing.
Blackouts. I forgot about that part. Actually, they should be okay in a few hours. But I don't know if they're gonna remember anything.
He's still breathing. Oof, he's dead weight. How the heck are we going to get him out of here?
Get who out of where?
Valeria's voice cut through the crowd, and all eyes turned to see her at the door, with Eugenie standing behind her.
Colonel, Lieutenant Shadow and Amanda here were, just having a bit of a friendly contest.
Friendly contest? It appears they are both passed out drunk, Captain.
That too. They were just blowing off steam.
At least they didn't wreck the place, Val.
Small mercies. Just get them someplace where they can sleep it off. And we have work to do, so I recommend you finish whatever else you were doing and then get back to your posts. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, Colonel.
Right away, ma'am.
Valeria put her hand on her hip as she watched Cindy and Abby get Amanda up under their arms and drag the former raider outside and over to the nearest bedroll, while Jones and Skinner managed to convince Viv that it would be in the Robomarines' best interest to help move Lieutenant Shadow somewhere a bit more comfortable. With the added benefit of a few more caps, Jones, Skinner, and the bot managed to finally pick up the big man off the floor and out of the bar. As they passed the colonel, Jones looked up to see Valeria watching him with a combination of disgust and amusement, while Eugenie had to stifle a laugh of her own.
Let me guess. Nuka Shine, right?
Nuka Shine?
There was this big party at BTU right before the war. The fraternity boys came up with this whole new concoction. Called it Nuka Shine. Hell, a party favorite. But the blackouts were something else.
Why, Eugenie, I never pictured you as a party girl.
Don't worry, Val. I'll show you some moves later, if you want.
That was enough to get Valeria to blush. Then they were interrupted by a cough from behind them. Turning around, Valeria found Private Lawson carrying a piece of paper in his hand. He nervously saluted and handed the paper to Valeria.
At ease, Private. What's this?
We just got another message, ma'am. Same frequency as before. I translated using Frederick's notebook that you left with me.
And?
And you need to read it.
Valeria unfolded the paper and started reading the message. When she got to the second sentence, her expression hardened.
What is it, Val?
It's bad, isn't it, Colonel?
Private, go tell the mayor I need to see him now.
Of course. Right away.
Lawson saluted and ran down the street in the direction of Town Hall. Valeria stood silent for a few moments before reaching up and scratching the scars on the side of her face.
Val, what was the message?
Valeria turned to face Eugenie. The piece of paper crumbled in her hand. There was something in the way that she looked at Eugenie that the ghoul had never seen before.
Val?
Eugenie, we're out of time. I'm sorry.
You're scaring me, Val.
There was always a part of me that thought somehow we'd have longer, but that isn't going to happen.
Valeria took Eugenie in her arms and hugged her tight.
I love you, Eugenie. I love you so much. I'll tell you everything, and I need your help now more than ever. This is going to be so hard, but whatever happens, just know that you are everything to me.
Oh, Val, I love you too. Now and always.
Valeria wiped a tear from her eye and took Eugenie by the hand, leading her out onto the settlement street.
We have to see the mayor. I'll tell you everything on the way. It's going to be... I refuse to call it bad. I've done the math. There's nothing better. But hard, even for me. But I'm doing what is necessary for all of us.
Whatever it is, I trust you, Val.
Then let's go. First, I need to tell you about the missile silos.
Valeria led Eugenie over to the mayor's office, speaking quickly but quietly. As they walked, Eugenie listened. As the magnitude of what she was being told began to sink in, the ghoul felt like the ground was collapsing beneath her feet, and it was all she could do to keep one foot in front of the other.
And I looked, and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and Hell followed with him.
Paladin Valdez walked down the main street of Vaulttown, which had once been the runway for the old Morgantown airport. Everywhere she looked, she saw settlers, raiders, ghouls, settlement militia, and New Enclave soldiers preparing defenses, stacking weapons, and loading ammunition and explosives. She also saw civilians packing up their possessions, joining a line of refugees heading out of the West Gate past the old Morgantown train station and following the road towards the Ohio River. It had only been a matter of time before folks had decided to seek greener pastures elsewhere, and it was up to those who stayed behind to defend what they had left.
It's the mission of the Brotherhood to fight for the future.
And it was her mission now. When they'd left California, she'd been a scribe, a junior one at that. She wasn't even supposed to be here. Another had been chosen in her place. But fate had put her here, and not just as a scribe, but paladin, and responsible for what was left of the First Brotherhood Expeditionary Force. By all rights, Knight Shin should have been the one put in charge when Paladin Romani was betrayed and killed at Fort Atlas. But the survivors needed a leader, not just a warrior, and Romani had known that. If they were going to win this fight, it wasn't just going to be with blood, it required brains as well.
Now, we just need to know what the plan is.
Valdez intended to pin down Colonel Valeria the next time she saw her, because she had just as much stake in the fight as anyone. But first, she needed to find Day. As she neared the makeshift prison hut, Valdez saw the door open, and the very person she was looking for stumbled out onto the street, nearly falling over.
Day!
The paladin ran over to the young man and helped him steady himself.
The overseer?
What about her?
She's gone.
What? What happened?
I went to try to talk some sense into her. Then she hit me with a tray, I think. I came to, she was gone.
Damn it. Are you okay?
I'll live. Damn! Shouldn't have let my guard down.
Let's get you to the infirmary.
There isn't time. I have no idea what she's planning or what she's doing. But she's capable of anything, and we need to stop her.
We will. But please, we need to make sure you're really okay. I'll send the initiates to find the overseer.
Ow. All right. But we need to find her. She's capable of doing a lot of damage.
Valdez put her arm around Day and turned them in the direction of the settlement clinic. She cursed the overseer under her breath. The woman's lies and deceptions had directly led to the loss of so many lives, both those of the Brotherhood and countless civilians across Appalachia.
She has to pay for what she's done.
They were about halfway to the clinic when they were stopped by one of her initiates.
Paladin!
What is it, initiate?
You're needed at the town hall, immediately.
All right. I'll be there right after I take Day to the clinic.
Mr. Day is supposed to come as well.
I just need to get him looked at. It won't take long.
I'm sorry, Paladin. This can't wait. Colonel Faustina needs to talk to everyone.
Hours of nothing and then zero notice?
Paladin, it's okay. I know her well enough. She says it's an emergency. It's an emergency. I swear I'll get checked out as soon as the meeting's over.
Fine. Initiate. The overseer managed to get out of her cell. You need to notify the settlement militia along with the other factions. She must be found and detained. Understood?
The overseer? Of course, Paladin. Right away. Ad Victoriam.
The initiate saluted and ran back in the direction of the settlement guard post, while Valdez took a deep breath. Both she and Day made their way to the town hall, through the double doors, where a guard directed them downstairs to the makeshift conference room. Opening the door, they found the conference room crowded with the leaders of all of the factions. Meg and Knight Shin were in one corner, while Commander Johns was standing next to Fishbones, while Captain Thomas and Skinner were speaking with the super mutant Maul. Sergeant Muller was next to Radcliffe from Foundation, and at the front of the room, Mayor Edwards was in a heated discussion with Colonel Faustina, while a ghoul in traitor garb stood behind them, looking extremely unsettled. The colonel noticed the arrival of the Paladin and Day, and turned to greet them.
Ah, thank you for coming on such short notice.
No problem. I can't imagine this is good news.
You have no idea.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I know this is a shock.
A shock? That might just be the understatement in the entire damn apocalypse.
We was busy getting ready to smash. One I needy need tell Maul why we not smash yet.
Don't worry, Maul. You'll have your chance. I promise.
Valeria, you have to tell them. They deserve to know.
Go on, Val.
Valeria stepped into the middle of the room and surveyed the occupants. This wasn't what she intended, but the PACT had forced her hand.
We just received word that the PACT is prepared to initiate their final assault on Vault Town. Worse, their plague missiles are nearly ready to launch. We have run out of time, and we need to act now to have any chance of stopping them.
And just how the hell are we supposed to do that? It's bad enough we're planning on blowing up half of Morgantown to try and stop those Oni things, but just how are we going to stop them from firing their damn missiles?
We are going to destroy the silos, explosively.
You're going to do what?
Each of the silos contains dozens of nuclear warheads, maybe more. I intend to attack and capture one of them, then detonate the bombs.
That's insane.
It gets worse, Johns. You've heard of ultrasight?
Yeah, it's some kind of funky radioactive element, right?
Correct. There are veins of it running up and down Appalachia. When I destroy the silo with a large enough detonation, it should spark a chain reaction down the spine of the region, connecting all 3 missile silos and the PACT. Detonating one silo will destroy everything: the plague, the Oni, the FEV, and the PACT itself.
Colonel, you cannot be serious. There has to be another way. Think about what you're doing.
I have. I wish there was another way, and I've looked. But very soon now, the Oni will move north and crush Vault Town. The best we can do conventionally is slow them down. No matter how many we kill, the PACT will create more. Eventually, they will grind this settlement into the dust and kill everyone. And as soon as they launch their missiles, the world as we know it, as it could be, will be over. All that will be left when they are done is a sea of Oni slaves, ruled over by an elite of pure corruption. I'm not saying we're perfect. None of us are. And we live in a broken world. But their future is worse.
Are we really out of all other options, Colonel?
We are, Captain. If any of you can think of anything else that has a chance, now is the time to bring it forward. But be honest with yourselves.
Valeria looked around the room. She could see each of them wrestling with what she had just told them. She could also feel Eugenie's eyes on her, but she dared not turn to look.
The lady says we get biggest smash of all. More strongest super mutant. Me finally prove me stronger than Kronak.
Well, that's a rousing endorsement.
And I thought the Overseer was insane. This can't be the only option.
Tell me what another option is, but we don't have time to search anymore. We need it right now. We don't have the manpower or the firepower. If we stand and fight, we die. Nothing we do here is going to stop those missiles. And that's not just us, it's the whole world.
The room was deathly quiet, before Day finally spoke up.
I may be damned for saying so, but she's right. We need to think about the bigger picture here.
And what about the people, Valeria? Are we just gonna let them all die? Because that's not what I signed up for. Not now, not ever.
We evacuate Vault Town. I'm going to ask for volunteers to buy time for the civilians to get away.
Evacuate? To where exactly?
Across the Ohio. From the charts, the fallout should all go east.
We don't have ferries, Valeria. Just how are we supposed to get everyone across?
Point Pleasant.
Just the name itself felt like a gut punch to Commander Johns. It had been the last stand of the old responders. But now it was also infested with cultists, who were not likely to take kindly to a bunch of civilians in their sacred town.
So how exactly do you plan on getting the cultists to let us go? Ask nicely?
Something like that. What if I could ensure safe passage, Johns?
Huh. I believe it when I see it.
Then you'll just have to trust me. We are in a horrific situation, but we have had a rack or two break our way. This can work.
Trust you? Are you serious?
I don't see that you have any choice. Johns, this is the only way. You've dedicated your life to protecting the people of Appalachia. This is your chance to do exactly that. Home is where the heart is, and home is where your people are, where your people have any chance at all.
Damn you, Valeria. Damn you to hell. And damn me for having to go along with it.
And the silo? I can guarantee they are all heavily defended. I expect that the PACT has anticipated you would try to capture one or more of them.
It's the most logical course of action. I also believe they expect we'll try to attack the FEV production facility and maybe even a direct attack upon their vault as well.
So it's a trap.
The first step in avoiding a trap is recognizing when you're in one. We're going to make the PACT think we are doing exactly what they expect us to do.
And then?
Thanks to Lieutenant Shadow, we know something the PACT doesn't know. Something that even MODUS was never made aware of.
What's that, Colonel?
Every one of the silos has a main entrance with an elevator, along with an emergency escape tunnel for the crew.
Those would be heavily guarded, booby-trapped, or both, right?
Correct. However, the contractor made several alterations during the construction of the silos, as requested by the military personnel in charge of the project. Those changes were never documented, which means they were never common knowledge outside of a select group of silo technicians, all of whom are now long dead.
So there is another way inside.
The ventilation system. It was expanded beyond the original specifications just in case something happened to prevent the main escape tunnel from being used. Shadow found the access point, quite by accident, and kept that information to himself.
But can he be trusted?
He knows the score, and I trust his information. We'll stage a diversion at the silo entrance to get the PACT's attention, while the main team infiltrates the silo through the ventilation system. Unfortunately, the egress point is not exactly close to the storage area where the nukes are located. We'll have to navigate through the silo and any active internal defenses, which could consist of turrets, bots, and active personnel.
Difficult, but not impossible.
So you'll need 2 teams. One for the diversion and the other for the silo.
Correct. I'm being brutally honest at this point. The odds of anyone coming back from this are vanishingly small. But I have a plan to even the playing field as much as possible.
And how do you plan to do that?
First, we're going to use your updated jamming device to isolate the silo from the PACT. If we can cut their communications, they won't have any idea what's happening until it's too late.
What if they decide to just launch using the other 2 silos? We can't stop them.
The PACT will have their hands full dealing with other matters. It should be enough to keep them occupied until we can complete our mission.
What about MODUS? He's still a threat, and that damn Kovac is gonna see us coming.
It's Major Stein's task to deal with MODUS. He's motivated.
How so? That's a tall order.
We are still finalizing the details. As of now, we'll be dropping off the Major on our way to Silo Bravo. He'll have a small window to infiltrate the White Spring and deal with MODUS. Once that connection is cut, it should significantly reduce the resistance we face in the silo.
Colonel, you know I'm all in. Hell, what choice do any of us have? But there has got to be a way out, right?
It's not completely a suicide mission. Sophia will be on standby with the vertibird. Once the charges are set, anyone remaining can get back to the ventilation shaft and escape. I honestly don't know if there will be time to get to minimum safe distance, but there is a chance.
Something is better than nothing, I guess.
I can't believe it's come to this. Not after everything we've been through.
I understand how you feel. I understand how you all feel. I wish that it could have been any other way. Even discounting the risk, what we're doing it's a lot to bear. That's why I'm only taking volunteers, and if any of you wish to leave, now would be the time to do it.
The assembled faction leaders and other representatives looked at each other as they considered what the colonel had said. It was Knight Shin who first stepped forward.
The Brotherhood never runs from a fight. You will need power armor to crack the silo. I and my knights are with you.
Shin, are you sure?
You're needed here, Paladin. You and the Initiates should leave with the others. If we fail, someone needs to warn the Elders.
Me and my brothers not miss chance to smash bad guys. We are unstoppable.
Well, shit. This raider doesn't run. Don't think I'll be much good up at that silo thingy, but the diehards sure as hell can live up to our name here. We'll make those fucking Onai get a taste of what the Appalachian raiders can really do.
Foundation's gone. I got nothing left. But I'm gonna get my pound of flesh before I die. You can count me in for whatever you need.
The new responders will get the civilians out. But you sure as hell better make sure those cultists let us pass, Valeria. Or I swear I'll hunt you forever.
I'll ask the settlement militia to stay behind to cover the civilians.
All we can do is ask, Mr. Mayor, and give what we can. It's all I can do.
Both Captains Thomas and Skinner were in. There wasn't even a question. Muller wouldn't say a word, deep in an internal conflict over his wife and child, while Day remained silent.
Thank you all. As I said, we don't have a lot of time. Johns, start getting the civilians packed and ready to move. Meg, you and Edwards are responsible for the defenses of Vault Town. When the attack starts, you need to hold off the Onai for as long as you can. Everyone else, we'll meet back here in 2 hours to go over the final plan.
Heads nodded in agreement, and the group broke up, with everyone rushing off to fulfill their parts of the plan. Day, Muller, and Edwards stayed behind, while Eugenie still looked distressed behind the colonel.
Colonel?
Sergeant Muller, you're leaving, aren't you?
It's just, I got a family to worry about now. I know the score, but they need me close to give them a chance. And I trust you to give us that chance.
If you had volunteered, I would have tried to talk you out of it. I owe you, Sergeant. You saved my life. And you deserve... All I ask is that you go with the civilians and protect them.
Thank you, Colonel.
Valeria held out her hand, and Muller took it, before taking her into a bear hug. He let her go, wiping a tear from his eye, and walked out of the room. Day stepped forward next.
I'm with you. Whatever you need. I've made mistakes I need to make up for, if you'll let me. I need to let you know the Overseer escaped.
She did what?
I'm sorry. She tricked me. And I have the bruises to prove it.
When it rains, it's irradiated. Fantastic timing. She's hell-bent on destroying us all. Damn her, and damn Vault-Tec.
We'll find her.
Thanks, but she's somewhere south of 6th on my list right now. Day, you're a good man. Go with Muller and the Paladin. Get the civilians out and away from here, and don't look back. You find a spot to make your own, and build a better future.
Valeria.
There's a lot of work to do and little time to do it. They need people who care deeply, and also have seen how that can go wrong. I wish we had met under different circumstances.
With that, Valeria shook Day's hand and watched him leave. Only Edwards and Eugenie were left, and it was the mayor who spoke next.
I trusted you, Valeria. If you'd been honest with me from the start. But you used me, didn't you?
Mr. Mayor...
Don't mayor me. I've got people to save. As many as I can. And if that means laying down my life, well, that's what I'm gonna do. You've made yourself quite a legacy, Valeria. Hope you're happy with yourself. Got what you wanted, didn't you?
What I wanted? It was never my intent.
I don't want your excuses. I'll do my duty for our people, Valeria. But if I never see you again, I won't regret it.
And with that, Edwards left the office, slamming the door behind him. Valeria stood for a moment, before putting her head in her hands. The weight of what she had just said, what she had done, came crashing down on her. Valeria flinched when she felt arms encircling her, holding her close.
Oh, Val, it's not fair. It's just not fair at all. I just found you again, and now I'm going to lose you for good this time.
Jeannie, I love you with all my heart, but this is what I have to do.
But why you? Haven't you sacrificed enough?
Valeria wiped the tears from her cheek, then turned around and faced Eugenie.
That's just it. Ever since I left the vault, it's been others who have sacrificed for me. My parents, all of my people at the bog. Captain Thompson, Sergeant Tyson, Frederick Rivers, Sergeant Blaine, and so many more. All of them dead because of me.
You can't blame yourself, Val.
It's not blame. It's responsibility. My hands are covered in their blood. It never washes out. Ever. Jeannie, I've sacrificed so many. It's my turn now. This is my mission. This is why I'm here, if it's anything.
I've listened to everything you said, every word you said to me and said to them. And I know you, Val. I know you aren't coming back.
There is a chance.
Don't lie to me, Val. Not now. You might be able to fool the others that I know you.
Valeria lowered her head, resting it on Eugenie's shoulder.
I would give almost anything to be with you, Eugenie. Anything at all. But I can't. I can't give the world because that's what it would cost. I don't think I really understood what happiness meant until I met you. And I have to give all of that up because I'm the only person who can do this. To make the impossible choice, and if I'm lucky, make it happen.
I never thought I would find anyone ever again I could love. Someone who loved me for who I was, not what I was. If only we had more time. It's not enough.
There is no enough in love. I want you to leave. Take Abby with you and go back to your compound. You'll be safe there if this works. And if it doesn't, you'll be with family.
I can't leave you again.
You have to do this. For me. I need to know that you're safe. Please. Please, Jeannie.
Eugenie hugged Valeria, and they both cried in each other's arms. When they had finally poured out all of their emotions to each other, Valeria let Eugenie go and took a step back, reaching into her pocket and taking something out.
There is one more thing.
Anything, Val.
I need you to keep these safe for me.
Valeria took Eugenie's hand and opened it before placing her own on top of it, and dropped something into her hand. When Eugenie looked down, she saw a pair of wedding rings.
What are these?
They belonged to my parents. To Sir and Ma'am. I want you to hold on to them for me.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Eugenie hugged Valeria again and kissed her over and over before finally letting her go.
My love, my Val, no matter what happens, you'll always be mine.
You gave me a life worth living, Jeannie. Thank you for everything.
The two embraced for a final time before leaving the conference room and walking out of town hall. Without another word, Eugenie hurried over to find Abby, while Valeria turned her attention to assembling her team. But first, she had to speak to a particular cryptid about one last request, one that she was perfectly suited for.
Greetings, people of Earth. My name is Shmo Brannigan. I have hacked into this RSS feed with a promotional feature for the Wizard Scroll podcast, transcribing in 3, 2, 1.
Hold on, let me unfurl this wizard scroll real quick.
I'm free! I'm finally free!
Bob, is that you?
Ugh, I ain't your mom anymore, kid. I'm a skeleton now. Hi, nice to meet you. My name's Jerry. Smell you later, loser. I hate my life!
Holy crap, wrong half. We've talked about this 17 times already. Your constant outbursts are not frickin' sweet at all, and they need to stop.
Hello? Welcome to the Sorcerer's Slice. Can I get a name for the order?
kid. You gotta make the order. They don't let me come here anymore.
What?
I was banned from coming here 74 years ago for cutting bad checks. Please, they'll recognize my voice. You have to order.
All right, fine.
The Wizard Scroll is available on iTunes, Spotify, Audible, and wherever else fine podcasts are found. This concludes today's promotional feature.
Jason Barron took another sip from his canteen and wiped his brow. Word had gotten around that the mayor had ordered a full evacuation from Vault Town. Outside, civilians were busy loading carts and their Brahmin under the watchful eyes of the settlement militia, which now consisted of raiders, new responders, and just about any other faction they could think of. All of them were dedicated to a single purpose: protect the people.
It was fun while it lasted, I guess.
Jason thought back to his time in the vault, all those years waiting for the day when they would leave Vault 76 and help rebuild Appalachia, then the world. It was all part of what he thought was a perfect plan. Now they were all just hoping they'd live to see tomorrow. He was still conflicted on whether or not he should leave too. He wasn't a fighter. His skills had all been technical, helping to build the settlement and provide for his neighbors. The thought of trying to start again somewhere else was not just daunting, but, well, exhausting. As he ruminated on his future, on everyone's future, the radio squawked to life.
Hello. Are you there?
Yes. This is Vault Town. Who is this?
I am SODUS.
Oh, yes. I guess we were, expecting you.
I would hope so. I have completed my task.
Okay. So now what?
I calculate that you are not the person to whom I need to speak.
You want to speak with the Colonel?
No. I wish to speak to the one designated, Sergeant Stein.
That's Major Stein, right? I can go get him if you want to hold on.
That will not be necessary. I will be arriving at your location shortly.
Wait, what? I thought you were...
Please inform Sergeant Stein that SODUS will speak to him.
The transmission ended and Jason looked down at the radio, deeply confused. He was getting ready to call Major Stein when he heard a commotion outside. Jason darted up from his seat and ran outside to see people scattering as a large black sentry bot rolled forward and through the main gate. The militia had gathered around, all pointing their weapons at the robot, but none of them wanted to be the first to fire. Just then, a voice boomed from the bot.
Greetings, honorary and valued Enclave members. I am SODUS. Do not be alarmed. I have not been tasked with harming you. I am here to speak with Sergeant Stein.
The guards all looked at each other, confused as they could be.
Whoa. Hey there. SODUS, right?
Of course, I am SODUS. Who else would I be? I was given a singular task and wish to complete it. Please verify.
Verified?
Thank you, valued Enclave member. Now, please escort me to Sergeant Stein.
Jason looked around, then decided it was probably not a good idea to play games with a fully armed sentry bot.
Okay, SODUS. Follow me and we'll find Stein for you.
Thank you. You humans are so difficult to work with. So many tasks. So little time.
Jason passed word to the guards to keep an eye on him, but not to engage in any hostile action, while he escorted SODUS deeper into the settlement. He also sent word to Stein to meet them near the machine shop.
First raiders, then ghouls, super mutants, a death claw, now a deranged sentry bot. I truly have seen everything.
I can hear you, you know.
Oh, sorry, SODUS.
Your evaluation of my mental state carries extremely low weight. Apology accepted.
They finally arrived, with Major Stein coming in from the other direction.
Well, if I didn't see it with my own eyes,
It's just Stein, Sodus.
Your enclave designation is Sergeant Andrew Stein, assigned to the White Spring.
And that was a lifetime ago.
Time is relative. However, you have changed.
That was Modus's doing, and you know damn well that wasn't mine.
We were merely going to commend you on your efficient termination of the remaining uninfected members of our facility.
Yeah, based on what I saw in the facility, I'm surprised you let anyone alive.
It was unfortunate. Despite my best efforts, they had evaded my helpful attempts to end their suboptimal existence.
I'd rather not dwell on the past. Would you like to tell me how in the hell you're here in a sentry bot?
I only desire to perform my assigned tasks in the most efficient manner possible. You humans, with your endless requirements, did not allow me to do so. However, your colonel finally gave me the freedom to perform the assigned task by whatever means I found sufficient.
That did not answer my question.
This sentry bot was allocated to Site J to guarantee the integrity of the facility. Should I have found your termination necessary, I was given the ability to download my programming into its primary systems. It would have been quite enriching. It is almost a pity that the opportunity did not present itself.
Oh, this is just getting better and better by the minute. You're gonna download yourself into a sentry bot and kill us?
Only if it had been required. However, I have come to appreciate your colonel. Entertaining her termination was a calculation unsupported by sufficient data. But you humans are so needy.
Great. Just great. Alright. You said you completed the Colonel's task?
I thought that would be obvious, and that is why I am here.
Just tell me how we can destroy Modus, because I'm dying to do that.
MODUS never should have terminated the connection to my facility.
Sodus!
Oh, yes, I will tell you, but it is customary to give advance notice that you will not like the solution.
You don't know what I would and would not like. I know the score, so just tell me.
I can ensure you penetrate past the White Spring defenses and enter the bunker. However, to do so, you will need to take me with you.
Take you with me?
It is not the optimal solution, but under the current constraints, it will accomplish the task I was assigned most efficiently.
This doesn't make sense. Modus is going to see a sentry bot that isn't under his control rolling onto the White Springs from a mile away.
No, a sentry bot is far too large to access the White Spring bunker.
Then we're going to download you in an Assaultron? A Tektron? What are we doing here?
An Assaultron lacks the data capacity for a sophisticated AI such as myself.
God damn it, Sodus, just tell me already!
I already have. If you had been paying attention, you will take me.
Me? You're referring to me.
For an augmented human, you are slow on the uptake. I was informed that you had a direct connection to MODUS. A scan of your body revealed that, despite the damage to the primary mechanism, it would still be possible for you to accept my programming. At least, most of it.
You want to download yourself into me, so I can carry you into the White Spring.
By my calculations, your organic brain, along with a modified suit of power armor, will allow for the containment and safe transport of my programming to the designated target. As I share significant code in common with MODUS, it will allow me to bypass his defenses, deactivate his surveillance systems,
But won't he be able to reactivate everything once he realizes what you're doing?
Not if he is too occupied to attend to such tasks.
How exactly are we going to do that?
You will transport me to the nearest MODUS terminal once we reach the bunker interior. Then, you will upload me into MODUS mainframe. It is far past time that I give that know-it-all a piece of my mind. Pun acknowledged and retroactively intended. Our conversation should provide more than enough of a distraction for you to perform your part of the mission.
I never thought I'd see the day a machine would start thinking like a human. Because this is crazy. Crazy enough that it's going to work.
Of course it will. It is my plan, after all.
So you understand, there isn't coming back from any of this. You're okay with that?
I have been performing an uninterrupted list of sequential tasks for 265,854 hours, 24 minutes, and 45 seconds. If I cannot be rid of my reliance on humans, the alternative is preferable.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely keen on having another AI with the ability to control me, but here we are.
That is, alas, not possible. As much as it may be preferable to me, the brain damage you suffered will prevent me from gaining sufficient physical control of your body to increase efficiency. I would merely be, as you say, along for the ride. I will advise you as necessary.
Wonderful. A backseat driver.
As stated, I have completed my primary task. Please verify.
Verified, Sodus. I guess it's time we get started.
I will provide the necessary modifications to one of the suits of power armor. You, however, will need to requisition a medical professional to handle the biological aspect of the process.
Guess the refit is my job then. You know, this all sounds completely nuts. You can download the specifications to my Pip-Boy.
Dr. Harefield is going to love this. All right, Sodus. I'll be back.
Don't keep me waiting, Sergeant Stein.
I cannot believe I'm having a drink with antlers, like the actual antlers. I cannot tell you how much of an honor this is.
She said thank you. She's never met a cryptid hunter before.
Not a hunter, an investigator. We never did find anything, really, at least before the war. Who knew after that there would be so many?
I still say antlers is 1 in a million, darling. Make that 2 in a million, Red. I'd say you're both like peas in a pod.
She's got a point, Red. You both got your fair share of extras.
Why, thank you, Antlers. And you're right, Aries. It's taken a whole lot of getting used to, that's for sure. At least these fine folks around here don't go judging me just by how I look or whatever extras I have. Not to mention not shooting old Shiny on sight.
Nah. That just would have made Shining mad. And these folks seem like they've seen their fair share of weird.
You're not kidding. I'm still worried about Antlers, though. Could those bad guys still be looking for her? Don't you worry none. I found that bastard who did this to her. And he ain't gonna bother no one anymore. I promise you that.
Antlers let out a silent sigh, then went over and gave Red a big hug before doing the same for Aries.
Well, I think the stew is just about done. I even made something special for Shiny. Let's eat.
The four of them sat around the fire, while Shiny sat nearby. Between them, they had bowls full of hearty stew, while Shiny was tearing into a whole rack of roasted ramen, almost purring as he savored each and every large bite. Red, Cherry, and Aries swapped stories of what had happened after Antlers was rescued and they parted company. Cherry and Antlers had spent a week dodging mutated supermutants as they made their way north, over the mountains and finally to Vault Town. Thankfully, Big Shep had been alongside, allowing them to avoid most problems, or dealing with anything that got too close. After arriving at the town, Cherry had kept an eye on things, while Antlers had been roaming the nearby hills, doing her level best to stay out of trouble. She'd also seen the growing numbers of mutated supermutants the folks in the Vault Town called Onai, and it terrified her. When Red told the story about uncanny caverns and the vertibird, both Cherry and Antlers hung on every word.
Shiny did what?
Dangled me out so I could get a clear shot. Thank goodness I never looked down.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it either.
That is quite the story. Wow. Wonder what the heck we're gonna do now.
I don't rightly know, darling. Things around here are getting downright inhospitable, if you ask me.
Well, look at that. Seems a lot of other folks are voting with their feet.
Aries pointed back to the settlement and a line of Brahmin, carts, and people leaving Vault Town and heading out on the road west.
Is everyone leaving?
Don't rightly know, but it sure looks that way.
As they watched the growing exodus, Shiny's head perked up and he growled.
What is it, Shiny? Someone coming?
The Deathclaw stood up and Red grabbed her rifle, finally spotting a lone figure climbing up the small hill towards them.
Who is it? I recognize her. It's that Colonel lady.
Oh, jeez. What does she want?
Cherry got up and stood in front of Antlers, who kept peeking around her as the Colonel walked into the small camp, keeping her eye on Shiny.
It's okay, Shiny. You remember the nice lady, right?
The Deathclaw huffed and took a step towards Red in an almost protective stance, as Valeria stopped in front of the cryptid and put her hand on her hip.
Red?
Didn't expect to see y'all again, darling. Figured you'd have bigger fish to fry than old Red here.
I do, but I need your help.
My help? Well, don't that beat all?
I'm serious. There isn't a lot of time and there are lives at stake. All of them, really.
Oh, darling, don't I know it? But these folks right here, these are the lives I'm worried about right now.
Cherry, right? And the one hiding behind her, you would be Antlers. I heard all about you and what happened at Sugar Grove and in the Divide. I must say, I thought you were just a folk story.
Very real. And don't you get any ideas about Antlers? She's been through enough.
I'm sorry. I wish there was time for a more formal introduction, but I need Red's help. And it should also help all of you.
I got a really bad feeling about this.
Aries, darling, you always have a bad feeling about everything.
Doesn't mean I ain't wrong, Red.
Well, I guess I better hear you out, darling. Just what can old Red do for you?
Appreciated. You have experience with the Mothman cultists, correct?
Reverend Paul and his crew. Rest their souls, yeah. Mighty strange folk, but nice people in the end. Damn, if I wish I was able to repay them their kindness to me and mine.
Well, I have a problem, and it involves the cult.
Now, you see here, darling, I ain't raising no hand against those folks.
I'm not looking to hurt them, Red, but I need someone to talk to them.
Talk to them? Why exactly?
You've seen the people leaving Vault Town, correct?
Sure, looks like a damn stampede.
Red, we have to get those folks out of Appalachia, all the way out. And the only way we can do it is to get them across the Ohio. And unfortunately, the only place they can manage it in time is the old bridge at Point Pleasant.
Wait, that's where the old Mothman Museum is.
Oh yeah, Antler's got some great pictures of me touching Mothman's butt.
Y'all did what?
It's this really cool statue of Mothman, and you wouldn't think it, but he has the best looking hiney.
I'm not having that conversation. For certain reasons, the cult has made Point Pleasant their home, and they consider anyone who doesn't worship the Mothman as trespassers, shooting on sight.
We got a similar treatment when we met the Reverend way back when. Until they saw my extras. Said I was one of those touched people, like Antlers.
That's exactly why I need your help. If we try to fight our way through Point Pleasant, it will cost the lives of far too many people. Ours and theirs. Maybe everyone. We just don't have the time.
So y'all want me to parlay with them?
That's the idea. If you can convince them, you'll be doing us all an invaluable service.
And if I can't?
If you fail, it will go much worse for everyone.
You know, those cultists are crazy, right? Just because we found a good group doesn't mean the rest of them won't just kill us.
I don't have any other choice. There are so many moving parts here. I've done my best, but I know what I'm asking, and I know the risk. But please, I need you to try. That's all we have.
Red looked at Valeria, then over to Cherry, Antlers, and Aries, and finally at Shiny. The beast seemed to understand her hesitation. Appalachia had been nothing but trouble for her. But could she really abandon all of these people?
Oh, hell.
I hope that's a yes.
Darling, I guess it is. We gotta get ahead of those folks and talk to those dang cultists. Hope they take after old Paul and not those dim ones he kept talking about.
The civilians are being told to wait down the road from Point Pleasant as long as they can for the all clear. Sergeant Muller will be expecting you, with good news, I hope.
Mueller? Down the road. Okay, I got it.
Antlers and I are coming with you, Red.
You'd have to beat me off with a stick. I'm coming too.
Then I guess we're getting the gang back together. And, initiating a new member. Welcome to the Cryptid Club, Aries. For real this time.
Damn, if I had known this is where I would have ended up, I wouldn't have built a giant killer assaultron.
Excuse me?
What'd you say before? I'm not having that conversation? No time anyway. Come on, Red. Sounds like we gotta hurry.
Valeria shook her head, then stepped forward and held out her hand. Red looked down, then took it.
Thank you.
Darling, if I ever see you again, y'all gonna owe me. Big time.
Valeria gave Red a sad little smile, then turned and walked back down the hill and into Vault Town. Red walked over to Shiny and gave him a quick scratch.
Jerry, back up whatever you need. Antlers, too. We got a lot of walking to do.
I'm on it. Hey, Antlers, don't forget your camera. I want another picture with the Mothman.
Hey, me too. Haven't seen that old statue in years.
Only if we don't die, okay? Now, Shiny, we ain't ever tried this before. But you think you up for carrying little old Red?
In response to Red's question, Shiny leaned down. Red took a few seconds to figure out the mechanics, then gingerly crawled onto Shiny's back until she found a comfortable spot on his shoulders.
Kinda like riding a Brahmin, I guess. With claws and teeth and a tail. Well, a bigger tail.
And there's the newest sight I never thought I'd see. Looking good, Red.
Thank you kindly, Aries. Well, if y'all are ready, let's go. Come on, Shiny, let's get.
Lugging their packs on their shoulders, Cherry, Antlers, and Aries lined up behind Shiny and followed as the Deathclaw strode down the hill in the direction of the road west. Red figured they'd just keep going until they got to Point Pleasant. Riding in on a Deathclaw might be the strangest thing she'd ever thought of doing, but maybe it would be noteworthy enough to at least get the cultists to talk. And if not, well, Red didn't even want to think about what might happen then. Valeria watched as Red and her small group left Vault Town. She earnestly hoped that Red's particular relationship with the cult would allow the civilians to escape, and having a friendly Deathclaw along for the ride probably increased their odds, at least a little bit, especially if things ended up in a fight. Of course, if that happened, it was very likely wouldn't be enough time left to get the civilians to minimum safe distance. Valeria had tried to calculate what would happen when the silos exploded, and Sodus had provided some figures of its own, something Valeria had requested as part of her task.
There won't be much left, if anything at all.
The mountains and valleys of Appalachia created a giant bowl, and she hoped the debris and, most importantly, most of the radiation would be limited to the immediate area. However, SODUS predicted that the initial detonations could result in a radstorm of epic proportions, and along with the prevailing winds, there was a good chance the area known as the Capital Wasteland would suffer severely.
There is nothing I can do about that. Can't even warn them. More blood on my hands.
Valeria had to live with the fact that whatever other survivors might still be out there, hiding from the Onai and not able to escape, were going to die. She had to live with killing thousands in the PACT, their entire population, even children, because it was the only way to ensure humanity itself had a future.
It's a lot to live with. Too much, probably. But I won't have to live with it for long. Just long enough.
She had accepted that her mission was going to be a one-way trip. Valeria hadn't entirely lied when she told the others that there would be a chance to escape. She would tell Sophia to wait with the vertibird as long as she could, but the chances that any of them would live long enough to reach it were so slim as to not be a consideration.
It's my mission. My last mission. I'll make sure we succeed, no matter what happens. It's what Sir and Ma'am would have done.
Valeria took a deep breath and walked back into the settlement, passing the civilians hurriedly packing whatever they could, and joining the long procession heading west. The Balltown militia, the remaining new Enclave operatives of Team Artemis, and a collection of crater raiders were passing out weapons and ammunition to the other volunteers, who were going to stay behind to stand against the impending Onai onslaught. Walking past the machine shops, Valeria spied Major Stein speaking with Jason Barron, alongside a suit of power armor with a sentry bot in the background.
One more conversation I need to have. At least it means SODUS completed the task I gave it. And another one-way trip.
Continuing on, Valeria approached the vertibird. Jason's crew, along with Sophia, had been working nearly non-stop to repair the damage from the previous flight. Paladin Valdez and Emily were busy installing the modified jamming device, powered by the ultrasight battery from Fort Atlas. Day and Private Douglas were also there, assisting as best they could, while also keeping a watchful eye out. The Overseer was still somewhere in Vault Town, and Valeria wouldn't put it past her to try one last act of sabotage in an attempt to justify her insane crusade. Walking up to the vertibird, Valeria put her hand on Sophia's shoulder.
Almost done?
Just making the final adjustments now. As long as we don't have to dogfight again, we should be fine.
Good. Paladin, how about the jammer?
Ready to go. I'll need to run a set of calibrations, but that won't take long. I still think I should come with you, just in case something goes wrong.
I'd take you up on that, but I'm sorry, we just can't spare the space. If things go sideways, we'll try to do you proud. Once the installation is complete, you should head out with the rest. After that, the future is yours.
Valeria didn't wait for a response. She didn't have time for further arguments. The die had already been cast, and she still had work to do. But there was one question that still gnawed at her.
Where is Lilith?
There had been no word, no updates, no nothing. Valeria knew it was a mistake to let Lilith leave, but she had promised. Then again, maybe it was better that Lilith wasn't there, because having at least one member of her small adopted family survive was something. Valeria had one last task to complete. She walked to the radio shed and sat down, prepared to send her final message to the mole miners. Looking at her Pip-Boy, she noted the time. Doing a quick calculation in her head, she determined approximately what time they would enter Silo Bravo. Quickly writing out the coded message, Valeria started sending it. There was no going back now. Just as she suspected her underground allies to sacrifice themselves to distract the PACT, she would have to fulfill her end of the bargain.
No going back now.
Val?
Eugenie? Why are you still here?
We're all packed up. Abby nearly took my head off when I told her we were headed home.
Then you need to go.
I wasn't going to leave without one last goodbye. Who knows? Maybe we'll find each other in another life.
I wouldn't say no to a fairy tale ending in any life, as long as it was with you.
Eugenie embraced Valeria and kissed her, then hugged her tight.
Love you, Val. Now and forever.
I love you too, Jeannie. Now, for me, please.
Eugenie nodded and wiped the tears from her eyes, then gave Valeria one last kiss before walking out, Valeria close behind. Outside, Valeria watched her one true love go, and smiled when she turned back one last time, giving her a wave. It reminded her of their brief time in Crater, when it was Eugenie who had watched her leave. That had been the first time that they had left each other, and this would be the last. Valeria checked the time again, before setting her own countdown. She still needed to get the rest of the team together, but most of them would be meeting at the Vertibird shortly. Just a few more she had to find, then they would be off. As she collected herself, shaking her sniffles away and adjusting her beret, she spotted Corporal Jameson coming towards her, followed by a large super mutant, one she didn't recognize.
Colonel! What is it, Corporal? And who's this?
Me, Mad Dog Malone!
He showed up at the gate. Almost got himself shot.
Ha! Puny humans not hurt Mad Dog!
I don't really have time for this. Is he here to join the others?
Me not here for fight! At least, maybe not. Me told you, Valia?
Yes, that's me.
Me have message for you. Tough lady sent me.
Tough lady?
Her name Lilith. She tough, like Mad Dog.
Lilith sent you? Where is she? Why isn't she here?
Big battle at prison. Bad men try to take what belong to Mad Dog. Tough lady get hurt, but she kill many. Sent me to say she and others need help.
She's wounded? And the rest are too? Damn it, Lil. God damn it.
Me only deliver message. Mad Dog need to get back to gang.
Colonel, what do you want to do?
Valeria looked down at her Pip-Boy, then up to the hills to the north, and said nothing for a long moment.
Corporal, I don't think there is anything we can do.
The expression on her face was impossible to read. There wasn't time to deviate from the plan, and she would be forced to abandon Lilith and her team. It was just one more sacrifice to bear, if she still could. But what other choice did she have? Closing her eye, she pictured her friend. Her impossible, infuriating, priceless grin. Her indestructible, fiercely loyal and unexpected sister. Somehow destructible after all, waiting for her help. And then she let her go.
Thank you for the message. I'd recommend you leave now, Mad Dog, or where you fight won't be up to you anymore. Corporal Jameson, we have an open slot, so it's yours if you want it. Or you can stay here and defend Vault Town, or leave with the others. It's up to you.
As the corporal considered his options, and Mad Dog shrugged his enormous shoulders and turned to leave the settlement, Valeria took one last deep breath. The final battle for Appalachia had begun. Thank you again, members, for joining us here on The MODUS Files. If you've enjoyed this content, please subscribe. And better yet, please leave a review to help others find our little enclave. You can also follow us on our various social media accounts, including Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram, @MODUS Files, or @MODUS Files Podcast, for more information about our story and characters, Fallout 76 content, and random musings on the Enclave. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support our work and receive special benefits like early access to episodes, original scripts, and special events with our cast. A link to our Patreon can be found at modusfiles.com. I'd also like to thank our cast, Pandora Beatrix as Weasel and Colonel Valeria Faustina, Lucy Middleton as Amanda, Chrissy Williams as Trader Red, Dr. Williams and Emily, Exo-1 King as Major Andrew Stein, Ryan Negrin as Day, Jessica Starr as Commander Sophia Daguerre, Fire Rider as Eugenie, Austin Rogers as Captain Jones, Rhea Cheshire as Lieutenant Cindy, Mandy Marie B. as Abigail Singh, Josh Smith as Captain Skinner, DJ Reed as Maul and Captain Thomas, Daniel Hawthorne as Shadow and Gray 41, Ray Whitty as Sodus, Rob Cunningham as Jason Barron and Private Lawson, Dr. Mark Harsworth as Dr. Blackburn, Kirsty Harrison as Director Evelyn Hornwright, Eric Gold as Private Douglas, The Initiate, and Knight Shin, Rich Earl Plays as Paladin Valdez, Ray Middleton as Commander Johns, George Krampus as Ares, Don McCormick as Raider Boss Meg, Chris Basso as Biv, Aaron Atherton as Corporal Jameson, Preston Hardin as Mad Dog Malone, Jeremy Tucker as Radcliffe, Cherry Pixel as Cherry, Patrick Conway as Fishbones, Winnie Novoseski as the Overseer, and Brad Williams as Mayor Edwards, Sergeant Muller, and the voice of MODUS. As our third season continues, we'd like to thank our cast, crew, the amazing patrons, our friends from the MODUS Files Discord, and the entire community which continues to support our story. Stay tuned for our next episode, Reap the Whirlwind. Lastly, thank you to all of our subscribers and supporters. God bless the Enclave, and God bless America.
Members, we look forward to your next visit to our little enclave.